welcome back to our discussion about promotion. Last time we talked about the communication process and how promotion is a way of communicating with our target market. What we're going to look at this time is how we're going to try and integrate our different ways, our different methods of promoting in order to be most effective in reaching our target market. So let's begin by looking at what we call integrated marketing communications, IMC. This isn't a new idea. It is a current buzzword. It's a topic that people like to talk about all the time, but it's really a very basic idea that our advertising, our public relations, our sales promotions, all the different activities we do need to work together. This creates what we call synergy. If you're familiar with that term, synergy basically means the sum of the parts is greater than, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. In other words, 1 + 1 = 3. If we can get the different components of our promotional mix to work together to complement each other, we're going to accomplish more than we could have with each of these individually. So, what are the characteristics of an integrated marketing communications program? Your book goes through and discusses a lot of different characteristics individually. I just kind of want to do a summary approach with this. It is first and foremost customer oriented. We are trying to find the best way to reach the target market and a way to appeal to them. We want to be effective in what we do and efficient. Coming back to the use of our resources again. Promotions are very expensive and very time consuming. So we want to make sure we're using it efficiently and being wise. Multifaceted, we have a lot of different areas, a lot of different directions we can go in, and we want to cover as many as possible and still be efficient and effective. And here's the thing that a lot of people overlook when it comes to promotional campaign of any kind. It needs to be measurable. We need to know if our strategies, our campaigns work. Are they effective? Are they achieving the objectives we've laid out? So there has to be a measurable component in everything we do. Okay. So exactly what is an IMC plan? Well, it's a process, as with everything that we talk about. And again, it's really a 5-step process. First and foremost, we're identifying our target audience. This is a little different than the target market that we've talked about previously. Because with our target audience, we're talking about who we're targeting with this program, with this plan. You know, it may just be one small component, one small part of our target market, or it may be the entire target market. But this is who we're looking at with this campaign, this program, this plan. Our second step is to establish our objectives. What do we want to achieve? Now, most people are going to say, well, we want to increase sales. Well, that might be one of our objectives, except keep in mind what we talked about just a moment ago. It has to be measurable. So we'd want to say we want to increase our sales by 20% over the length of the campaign. Okay, that would be a worthwhile objective. But objectives can take all different angles, not just sales. It may be to build awareness, to build brand identity, to build reseller support, or it may be a combination of any of those or some others as well. So our promotions can do a lot of different things, not just the obvious ones. Now here's where we get a little tricky, and that's trying to determine our budget. How much do we want to spend? How much can we spend? There's a number of different methods that we can use, and sometimes, again, we can use a combination. The first category we're going to look at is called a top-down. And this means the management of the company tells us what we're going to spend. And two common approaches using this are percent of sales and competitive parity. Percentage of sales is exactly what it sounds like. We say 10% of our sales, 15% of our sales, 8% of our sales are going to go to promotions. It's very simplistic, very easy to use, straightforward. You pretty well know what to expect. The problem can be is if your demand goes up and down, if you have much fluctuation. For example, if your demand is very high, then your budget's going to be really high. That's great, but you really don't need it. But on the other hand, if demand's low and you're not selling as much, you're not going to have much of a budget. And that's when you really need to start putting some money out there in promotions. So you can get the reverse effect of what you actually need. If you're in an industry or you're a company where your sales are pretty steady, you don't have much fluctuation, it may work for you. Competitive parity means we're trying to match what the competition is doing. We're not really trying to get a heads up. We're not trying to increase our market share usually. We're just trying to keep our competition from increasing their market share. So we're matching what they do. Another approach is what we call bottom up, where we start at the task, at the promotion themselves, and try to work our way up. This is the one that's listed here, objective and task, is the most effective means of budgeting. It is very effective, but it's very difficult and very time consuming. What we do for objective task is we list out all the objectives we want to achieve with our promotional campaign, and then we decide which tasks do we need to do to make that objective a reality. Do we need to take out a magazine campaign in People magazine? It needs to run so many times. It needs to be this size. How much is that going to cost us? We need to do some free samples in a certain location. How much is that going to cost us? We look at the specific tasks we need to achieve the objective and price it out. And then we can decide, can we afford to do what we want? Maybe we need to cut down on some objectives, but the benefit is we're going to be spending our money effectively, making sure it's going towards achieving our goals. At this point with our budget too, we also want to make sure we're spending it to the right cause, to the right method. And what we're going to look at here for just a moment is something called a push versus a pull strategy. And I have a little graphic to illustrate this. If we have a channel and we're the producer sells to the wholesaler, who sells to retailers, who then sells to the consumer. We can use a combination of or either one of the push or pull strategies. With a push strategy, the producer is going to promote to the next level. The wholesaler will promote to the next level, and the retailer to the next level. So the producer may use a sales force to call on the wholesaler. And the wholesaler may use a sales force and some giveaways and some merchandising aids to report to to promote to the retailer. And the retailer may use displays and free samples to promote to the consumer. That's a push strategy. We're pushing demand down the channel. On the other hand, we have a pull strategy. With that strategy, the producer is going to promote to the end of the channel, to the consumer. So for example, you might get a free sample in your mailbox. You say, wow, I like this product. You go to your retailer to buy it and they don't have it. So you say to the manager, hey, I like this. Can you get it? I can pretty well guarantee they're going to get it for you. So the retailer goes to their wholesaler or distributor and says, we want this product. And the wholesaler then goes to the producer. So push strategy, we're pushing demand through the channel. Pull strategy, we're targeting the consumer, pulling demand back up the channel. Okay. And the last parts of the plan is a design appeal. Design appeal means what are we going to use to attract our target audience? And we briefly talked about this last time when we talked about encoding. Are we going to use a slice of life where people can identify, can see themselves in the situation? Are we going to have a testimonial where somebody's up front saying what this product or this company or this service did for them? We might use humor. We might use something pretty sexy. We might use some kind of fear appeal. There's not a right or a wrong. As long as you're ethical, there's not a right or wrong. You do want to look at your target audience and see what they react to, what seems to be most effective in reaching them. And then finally, we need to evaluate the effectiveness. Is it working? Is there a way to measure this? If our objective is to increase awareness, we need to know how we're testing it before the campaign and after that campaign. So we're going to be testing everything we do to see if it's helping us achieve our objectives. Okay, one other area that I want to talk about today is what we call interactive marketing. And interactive marketing is when we try and get a response from you immediately. We're trying to react with you right away. And it might be through the use of some direct methods such as catalogs. But the advantage of interactive marketing is that we get to customize our message to you, the individual. If you have placed an order with, say, JCPenney catalog, they know the type of products you like, they know when you order, so they try and send their specialty catalogs to you at the appropriate time and the ones that would appeal to you. You go online and order a product, you've been on there before, their message is customized right to you. Welcome back, here's what you bought last time, would you like to try this? There's a number of different ways of doing that. They're looking for two different levels of responses. The first level of response is getting you to buy the product. Think about television when you watch the Home Shopping Network or QVC, any of those kinds of things, or infomercials. You know, they're trying to get you to buy the product. That's the first level. A second level is when you may not be buying the product, but they're trying to get you to take some other action. For example, send in a response card saying you're interested in more information, or stopping by the store to get some more details. But they're trying to get a response from you. It's just not an order at this point in time. What aids in all of this is database marketing, really managing our databases. Now, we talked about this when we talked about marketing research. We know a lot about our customers, and that information is all recorded on the database. So we know, again, what they buy, when they buy, how much they spend, what promotions are effective with them. So what we can do is, let's say we're going to run a back-to-school promotion. Say we're something like Target or Walmart. We can go through our database and say, okay, what people bought the products at that point in time? They have kids. They seem to be looking for school products. What's more, we can look at that and further mine that database and say, what promotions did they react to? Was it newspaper ads? Was it coupons we mailed out? Was it in-store promotions? And that'll tell us where we need to focus, or what combination of the two or three we need to use to reach them most effectively. So to sum this up, to be effective, the various elements of the promotional strategy need to work together to create a synergy effect. Okay, they're doing more together than they could individually. Promotions tend to be viewed as creative, which they are. However, the financials, the measurement methods, and the strategies employed should be well thought out and analyzed. Marketing people should never, ever run from numbers. We need to measure everything we do. We need to account for every penny that we spend, make sure our budget's justified. So even though promotions tend to be thought of as being creative, free-spirited out there, it's all well documented. It's all based on strategic planning and analysis. We have now finished talking about the introductory look at promotion. Starting with the next segment, we will be looking at each element of the promotional mix individually and seeing how we make those happen. Have a good day.